Overall, I think the team hung tough and competed for a majority of the game. We were able to cut the lead there in the second half, which I was proud of, but ultimately the game was decided in rebounding. They had 33 second chance points, and there are moments in tonight's game where they are bigger than we are. They have bigger lineups out there, but in those moments, our awareness of the size discrepancy has to go up, and that has to lead to an uptick in our fight and competitive nature of we're going to try to send 3 people to block out 1 when they have 1 bigger player under the basket. So those parts of recognition are a big part of our team's growth. There's a variety of lineups that are played over the course of an NBA season. You see opponents that have different strengths and weaknesses, and when you're on the court, you should always be trying to assess what's our advantage in this moment, what's maybe their advantage to give us a heightened awareness of what they may be trying to do to hurt us. And that's at a team level, that's at an individual level. When there are moments of I'm guarding you or you're guarding me, we're both trying to figure out what the advantage is and how to best try to win those individual battles. And I think that's an area as a team where we've seen growth throughout the season, which is a positive, but we need to see more. Not every possession, not every moment, not every matchup is created equal. And we've got to start thinking the game a little bit better.
Colin had a good game. He's so competitive. How has he kind of dealt with this season and kind of the struggles he's had?
Yeah, I think Colin has had a wide range of experiences this season, and I think on the whole he's handled himself great. I think to expect no moment of frustration to show would be unrealistic. I think he's had a few moments where his frustration has shown, but I think that his ability to move past those moments, bring himself back to the group, and continue to just compete every day, not just the games, but how he attacks the weight room, the practice court, his prep, his recovery. I think Colin has shown a ton of character this year. And I think that the way that he approaches every game, his intensity on the floor in the games is very visible to anybody that's watching. But what you don't get to see is how his character shows every single day that he's at the practice facility. Colin's fighting hard every single day, and he doesn't take one moment of this for granted.
He kind of came to the defense of Keontae a little bit during that little pushing match with Porzingis. Mm-hmm. What does that kind of show about him and just the team in general?
Yeah, I think that's just Colin. I think having teammates come together in those chippy moments is always a good sign. I think we've talked a lot about our team camaraderie this year, and I think it's incredibly high. I wasn't shocked to see multiple players go to Keontae's defense. I certainly wasn't shocked to see Colin be the first one in there. That's how he's wired. That's how he's been every day that I've been around him. So I guess for me it was a little bit expected.
Walker had 6 assists tonight. What did you like about the type of plays he was making when he found guys?
Yeah, I think they're a tough matchup for Walker in some ways because they put smaller players on him for certain parts of the game, so he's playing against the switch more. But I think in general he made some good decisions, not just on catches in the middle of the court, in the pocket, so to speak, but he's doing such a good job of generating extra possessions for us, offensive rebounding. And when he doesn't have a clear advantage to go score, he's doing a good job of finding perimeter shooters. There's a variety of ways to impact the game from a playmaking standpoint. Walker's not somebody who gets a ton of plays called for him, but that doesn't mean that he can't continue to find himself in those moments with the ball against a rotating defense.
now been 2 months since Keontae was moved to bench, and curious how you feel he's done in the elements. You're kind of hoping to see from him defense and so on since he made it.
Yeah, I think the last couple of games have been the best defensive games of Keontae's time with us. Tonight, I thought he had some good moments. Obviously, you're playing a lot, battling bigger players on the switch. We had a miscommunication on a stack pick and roll in the middle of the court in the fourth quarter where they drove in and got a layup, and Keontae was out top. And we had one play in the post where Jason Tatum caught him on the quick spin middle and got all the way to the rim. But outside of those two possessions tonight, I've seen a lot of improvement, especially over the last, if you include tonight, the last 3 games. Keontae understands that this is a part of his journey, that moving him to the bench is not meant as a punishment. He's obviously still playing a lot of minutes. It's about establishing a different mindset for him. And I think that on the whole, he's handled it great. It's similar to all the conversations I've had with you guys about development in general. It's not a straight line going up. It goes up and down, but you hope it's trending up. And I think that that's how Keontae has handled it. Not every day has been perfect. Not every game has been a masterpiece. There's still pockets where you want improvement in some of those areas. But I would say on the whole, I've been really proud of how he's handled it.
Maybe related to that, you saw you talking about Bryce at the beginning of the second half, kind of sitting by him there on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
That conversation.
I mean, it wasn't about any one thing specifically. It's just about trying to help Bryce understand his strengths, what he brings to our team, the things that he can continue to focus on. You don't always get to catch in the game. Sometimes it's hard to have meaningful conversations. And after halftime, I just happened to see a spot by Bryce, and it was a moment where we could chat for a minute. It was a conversation that for sure could have been had tomorrow. It wasn't like anything ultra urgent, but there's 18 guys, and so sometimes when you have an opportunity, you have to take it. Thanks.
Thanks, Will.